The English version of our whole speeches would be on Channel 2, like always, and Channel 3 would be on Persian. So whenever people speak here in Persian, you can check Channel 2. Whenever they speak English, then in Channel 3 would be in Persian. I will, as we are very much back in the time now, with 15 minutes delay, we begin our event. Our first speaker would be Mrs. Darya Safai. She is women rights activist and the founder of Let Iranian Women Enter their stadiums. So I just don't take more time and give you the floor. Please, Darya Jan, you have the floor.
Thank you. Hello, let me thank you for inviting me. I'm going to talk about the situation of Iranian women nowadays. They are discriminated on the base of everyday life and also in the law of Islamic Republic of Iran. They have lots of problems, like they should have always a male guardian who permits to do the things or not to do. Like this, even they cannot travel without the permission of their father or after the marriage of their husband. And this makes their life very difficult because even for working and studying, they should have the permission of the masculine guardian, which is first the father and after the marriage, the husband. Women cannot divorce easily, only on exceptional conditions. If there come a divorce after the demanding of the husband, the children go automatically to the husband, to the man, and the custody of children is always with the man and his family after him. Women heritage is half of that from the men, and women testimony in the court, the value of the testimony is also half of the man in the court. So their life are imbued with discrimination. Also, they should have always a dressing code which is very special. They should always have the headscarf, and they should always cover their head. I can say Iran is the only country with this is an obligation for Iranian women. Also, the behavior of Iranian women should be very controlled and dictated by the regime. They cannot sing solo. They cannot, even the last years in the presidential of President Rouhani, even the concerts which has the musicians, female musicians, they were cancelled. Even they cannot play an instrument. And the only thing that after the revolution they enjoyed and they can participate as far as they want, that was the studying. But unfortunately, studying at the university is now limited for Iranian women. 4 years ago, before President Rouhani, Iranian women were 67% of the universities. But unfortunately, they brought a quota for reducing the number of women, which after 4 years, unfortunately, we see that now 47% of the universities are female students. This is what it happens in the last 4 years. In the jobs, nothing is better. The Iranian women are only 11 till 12% of the workers in the job market. And of course, this is very disadvantageous for women. In the sport life of the women, in the daily life, this is also very difficult. As you know, the Iranian women cannot, they don't have the permission to ride a bicycle. And they cannot go on the street, do jogging with clothes, free clothes, and in the freeway. But let's talk about also the professional female athletes in the sport world, which also face a lot of discrimination. As you know, after the revolution of '79, we didn't have any sport for female athletes. But in the 90s that they again could participate the sport world, but not in the swimming or gymnastic or the other things that they can, like they couldn't participate. But anyway, nowadays we see the athletes which are really successful, like Kimia Alizadeh. But she tells us also that she has done everything herself. She did not have the support from the federation or from the government. All the things was done by herself. And also, as you know, because the hijab and covering the head is obligatory in Iran, the athletes cannot choose their clothes and they should always cover their head, which makes it very difficult to compete and participate in the international world. It is not the easy clothes for competing in a fair situation, and this makes it very difficult for them. And there are athletes who has chosen to don't cover the head, and like the case of Dorsa Derakhshani, some months ago, there was a champion of chess who didn't cover her head abroad in a free competition. And unfortunately, she has been expelled from the national team. So as you know, as you see, what it is in her head as a chess champion is not so important. Why didn't she cover her head? This is what it is important for Islamic Republic of Iran. And we had lots of other cases, like the case of Shiva Amini, a member of the futsal national team of Iran, who didn't cover her body in a free competition and abroad, and she was also expelled from the national futsal team. Lots of other cases like Samira Haydari, wrestling champion, who just lost her scarf during the game and she didn't recognize, and that's why she was 6 months out of the national team. And also, Iranian athlete, female athlete, they face a lot of other sort of problems. Like when they want to go abroad for a competition, they need the permission of their husbands, and sometimes they have the problem with that. Like the last time, Zahra Nemati, the first woman, Iranian woman who had the gold medal, who could not go out abroad for taking part and participate this games because her husband didn't want. Also, like Nilufar Ardalan last year was the case, and she couldn't take part of the match. Not only the athletes, but also the spectators of the sports, they are discriminated. As you know, Iran, Islamic Republic of Iran and Saudi Arabia are among the only countries which ban the female spectators to enter the stadiums. And this has been such a long time, and after the revolution almost. But for volleyball game, it was until 4 years ago this was possible, and the women were numerous inside the stadiums. As you know, they were like 1/4 of the Azadi Stadium with a capacity of 12,000 people. But unfortunately, the Ministry of the Sport of President Rouhani was the first ministry who didn't sell the tickets for Iranian women entering the stadium and attending a match inside the stadium. And as you know, a stadium is like a small society. When you see women discriminated in the stadium, then you know this is how they are treated outside the stadium. And this is against the statute of the federation, international federation, like International Federation of Volleyball and Football and Olympic Committee. So they should take the responsibility, and they should be beside the Iranian women to help them enter those stadiums. That's what their own statute asks. No match can take place in a stadium that any kind of discrimination is present. This is what they want to do and they should do. But unfortunately, last year, they closed their eyes on this sort of discrimination as well. This was how the Iranian situation nowadays, they are in a very short summary of it. But also the human rights activists and women rights activists are not better. They are or in jail or in exile. And this is what our responsibility is. Support the women to emancipate themselves, support the women to go forward, and don't close the eyes on the discrimination of the women. This is our duty today, because as we know, as women win, the whole world can win. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.